today. Tomorrow I'm doing my first interaction for my own lesson. And then Wednesday I'm doing the pre-conference with Katie for her lesson. So I'm like, man, I'm trying to wrap my head around all this and get it all figured out. So,
well, hey, thanks for the invitation, Mr. Dunbar. Great to see you. Hopefully that new baby's doing well.
He's doing okay. We're trying to figure this sleep thing out, but he's doing fine.
Yeah, I got a 12-week-old puppy that is currently sleeping, so I'm gonna keep it on the lowdown a little bit. So
I'll try to keep my voice down.
Don't worry about it. All right, so we're here talking about your career ladder formal observation. We're going to talk through that a little bit. If you see me glancing off to the side, that's just so I have the form up and we can kind of talk through that. Overall, how has this year kind of gone for you when it comes to interactions and observations?
It's been interesting. At this point, which is really weird to say, I haven't done a lot of observations of my peers. I've done one post observation. I've got a couple more coming up in the next week or two here. It's just been weird. It seems like everything's starting really slowly. And I think just with all the changes with learning models and teachers worrying about that first, it's kind of gotten pushed to the back burner for a lot, myself included. My first observation, like I said, is going to, or my first interaction is going to be later this week. So I personally, and I think a lot of my coworkers would echo this, I think we're very appreciative in the flexibility of like dates and changing it up to the interactions is kind of takes a little bit off the plate, and we're still getting something out of it, I think, and it's helping us reflect on things. But I think that's been really helpful to a lot of us. Focus on what you need to focus on.
So as we consider your career ladder observation, and you're going to pre-conference with the observee on Wednesday, you mentioned?
Correct. Yep.
Awesome. So what are some of the things you're hoping to accomplish with your own learning throughout the pre-conference with the observee?
Well, I think if I'm thinking back to last year's observation meeting we got together on this, I think I kind of have similar goals, and it's something that it just, for me, just areas I know that I need to kind of to work on. And number one for me, I really want to focus on specific open-ended questions, and I haven't gotten her document yet. I'm hoping I get that tonight or tomorrow. So I haven't really gotten a chance to look through like specifics of her lesson. But I want to go into that meeting with at least like one or two open-ended questions that kind of focus on her reflecting on her own lesson. I want to have those ready to go going in, so I'm not kind of winging it and making up questions. I think last year, my first few conferences, I was kind of like, as I was going in, I was like, all right, we're making up questions as we go. And it wasn't as effective as I wanted. So I want to go in with a couple of questions. And the other focus I want to have, and I struggle with this because I always want to tie in my own anecdotes and things, just kind of avoiding those, like the advice piece and those personal sides, and focus it more on her and not so much on like what I'm bringing to the table. I think that leads to those more reflective qualities we're trying to pull out of our team here when we do this. So those are kind of the two things I want to focus on going into this.
Awesome. So you really value one, your own preparation and making sure you've got some of those open-ended, positive presupposition questions that we've talked about. But then also that, you're really helping to facilitate that observee's own professional growth and development. So what are some possible areas where you'll be able to identify specific successes as you think about what it might kind of sound and look like in an online environment?
I think for my own successes through this conference, I would say if I can create some moments of like pauses through our conversation where I see her actually thinking through some different aspects of maybe her lesson, and just me giving some wait time to let that process happen and not jump in with my own ideas or recommendations or whatever. I want to avoid that as much. But I think if I can create some of those wait times, I think that would show maybe some reflection piece in there, and that would be a success with what I'm looking to do.
Okay. Awesome. So in your case, it sounds like you're going to focus in on that use of wait time. Do you have any techniques where you've been successful implementing wait time in the past that you would think about using in this situation?
Not specifically.
Okay.
Just being patient and giving that time and
Mhm.
seeing, that's kind of what I've done, and it seems to have worked. I
Okay.
don't know,
Great.
kind of the plan going forward.
So is there anything that, I need to know about your observation of this person's kind of situation or classroom on
It's
Wednesday?
it's interesting. Yeah, I did look at this
Mhm.
question ahead of time, and I thought, there might be something. So this is a class that
Mhm.
it's a CRT class that this teacher is doing their spit based off of, and I'm
Okay.
actually doing a similar spit to what she's doing. And they have had some blowback from parents with
Mm.
this topic, and they're really focusing on vocabulary
Mhm.
with their spit. And I'm not specific, like I don't know specifics of her lesson yet of what it's going to.
Sure.
I do know that with our focus on vocabulary, they've had some pushback from parents and things like that. So I'm very interested to hear about, what are some things that maybe you're tweaking
Sure.
or doing differently based
Mhm.
on how those original lessons had gone.
Mhm.
Um, and it's kind of a unique situation because there was some kind of public blowback and things that had happened due to
Sure.
the SPIP deal. So, and I'm sure that's led to a lot of reflection and,
Sure.
kind of them tweaking things that they've been working on. So I think that'll be an interesting kind of unique piece that we have with this
Mhm.
interaction or lesson that we're going to be looking at.
So it sounds like you really value kind of putting that observee at ease, that they're in a pretty safe environment where you can have these, in-depth discussions and reflection. So what might be some of the strategies that you're going to use to kind of maybe help lower that observee's anxiety or elicit some of those responses that you've talked about?
I think it's just being relatable. And I think part of
Mm.
that helps that is I'm doing a very similar
Sure.
spit myself. So I kind of know, and again, this kind of gets that conflicting piece here. I'm not trying to tie my own piece into this so much, but I
Yeah.
think in this regard, it might be a way to, like you said, lessen that anxiety and kind of
Mhm.
make sure it's like, hey, I'm on your side. We're kind of
Yeah.
going through this together, and just kind of focus on what are they, really gonna, how have they changed or tweak things based on this, and just a constructive place to kind of think those things through.
Yeah. Awesome. So you kind of already covered one of our questions, which is just what do I need to know about that relationship with the person? I really feel like, you've done a good job in covering that. What is kind of your own personal learning focus? And then how will you know you've reached that at the end of your coaching session with your observee?
Well, I kind of talked about the reflective questioning.
Yep.
I do really want to improve on that. And I almost think that the post meeting is going to be where I see that, that discussion has helped them kind of see anything or reflect on their own lesson or anything like that they take away. I think that post conference discussion that we have is really going to show me what their thinking was and how it impacted their lesson.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that conversation is where I'm hoping to, get that either hopefully positive proof or whatever that we wanted to out of that conversation.
Okay, awesome. So I think we've kind of checked all the proverbial boxes as far as our form is concerned. Are there any kind of takeaways that you have from our coaching conversation that have kind of burbled to the front of your mind as you think about what's going to go on Wednesday?
I think the thing that stands out to me is just kind of the most challenging questions I think we had were kind of like my success indicators on my own end of what I'm,
Sure.
To see my own progress.
Yep.
And so I think I appreciate that because it helps me kind of, it's great to have these ideas like, hey, I want to ask more open-ended questions, but does that mean a whole lot if I don't have a specific success indicator? So I think that was very helpful to me,
Sure.
kind of making that a little bit more tangible and know what I'm looking for. So yeah, I think that'd be the number one thing. I'm able to hone in on what I'm doing and hopefully see that success or that
Awesome.
improvement of the conference. So
good. That sounds like a plan to me. Post observation for us, what are your thoughts about getting that on the calendar? Do you have a date in mind?
You know, we could do like, she's pre-conferencing, and it's got to be within 2 days of the
3 days of your observation, but you usually count those as school days.
Do you want to try? Well, Tuesday, we don't have Monday, correct?
We don't have Monday.
I'm just thinking because I'm doing my pre-conference with her on Wednesday.
Yep.
I think her lesson's going to be on Thursday.
Yep.
I'm not available Friday after school. Do you want to try Tuesday? I know it seems like a long way after our pre-conference. Yeah. Does that work okay?
Yeah. You want to do the same time?
Yeah, this works out really nicely.
Let me see how Tuesday looks. Yeah, that looks great. I will send you an invitation for Tuesday right after school at 2:30 for our post-conference to your observation. And will you have had your post-conference as well by then, do you think?
No.
Okay.
Unless we do Friday. Maybe we'll squeeze it in Friday. I'll see what she wants to do for post-conference.
Fantastic. And, you know, if it works out where, you know, we can do it earlier or got to adjust it, we'll make it work one way or the other. Okay?
Yep. I'll let you know once I figure out what we're going to schedule.
So. Beautiful. Thank you, Mr. Dunbar. I appreciate it.
Yep. Good to see you.
Nice to see you too.